Okay. Hello. This is Game Center Live. This is our show where this is our weekly show for NYU Game Center, where we talk about what's going on in the department. We also have special guests. We also play games and see what's going on. And it's a little bit noisy. Is the noise okay? um, we're filming in a new location today. Today we are actually filming in the student lounge to try to incorporate a live studio audience and all that stuff. So should be more exciting today. First off, let's start off with some announcements, and then we'll move on to our first segment. So first, let's do some announcements. NYU Game Center students, advising season has begun for spring 2020 classes. Registration will start on November 11th. So you have about 2 more weeks to meet with your faculty advisor, or you will be locked out of registration. So definitely meet up with your faculty advisor so that you are able to register for classes. It would be sad if you weren't able to. Next. Reminder, code help desks are running every day, Monday through Friday, 1 to 5 p.m. Writing help desk is Monday, 1 to 3 p.m., Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m. We also have a 3D help desk, a 2D help desk, and an audio help desk. So please make use of all these help desk resources. They'll help you on your projects, and you can either make an appointment or just drop in. Playtest Thursday is also running still tonight, 5:30 to 7 p.m. At Game Center, which is at 370 J Street, 6th floor lounge. This is an event that's always open to students as well as the public. So come over, eat some free pizza, and also test your games. One of our big events that we do every year is called No Quarter. It's a one-night-only game exhibition, and that is happening tomorrow, October 25th, 7 p.m. in Dumbo. So this is a big, again, only one-night exhibition where we commission a bunch of new games from new designers and new artists. It's a big, loud, fun party. This year we are commissioning Michael Bro, Karina Pop, Zalavir Nelson Jr., and Marie Claire Leblanc Flanagan, who will also just be on our show later today. So you'll get to meet her a little bit. Please visit our website to get info and free tickets. And as always, please go to our YouTube channel. You can get all the archived past episodes because Twitch deletes our past episodes, which is really fucked up, but that's just how Twitch rolls, I guess. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NYU Game Center. There'll be a link in the ticker down there for a bunch of talks as well as past episodes of Game Center Live. And those are all our links over there if you want to check it out later. We're on Twitter, even though Twitter's a shit show. We're on Facebook, even though Facebook is a shit show. We also have a website. Websites are still okay, right? They're still okay. So please visit us and make your voice heard. What should we do next? Oh, right. Let's move on to our next segment. So today we're mixing up our format a little bit. In addition to starting our broadcast at noon instead of 1 p.m., we're also going to do news with Naomi later on in the broadcast. So instead, we are going to host a special guest. Oh wait, why is the sound playing no matter what? I literally can't even mute the sound now. Uh-oh. I'm gonna mute the volume here. Okay, yeah, let's shoot to our game feed. A game and watch
Testing,
feed.
1, 2, 3.
Is your mic on? So today we have a special guest, Greg Heffernan. You want to come on stream?
Hello.
Looks like your mic is reading. Oh, hello.
Testing.
Our
1,
illustrious
2,
director,
3.
Frank Lance, is off camera. Oh dear.
Off camera.
Now he's watching us. We should cyberbully Frank while he's watching. No, that would be bad. So
we got this working. Live TV, it's all
I don't
possible.
even know what that was. So this is also still a construction zone, which is really fun. Jesus Christ, what was it? Sounded like the ceiling caved in.
Anybody hurt?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, hopefully no one's hurt. Is everything okay? Good. So this is Greg Heffernan. You made the Norwood Suite.
I did.
Please tell us a little bit about Norwood Suite and give us a little background on what this is.
All right. So I'm a New York-based developer. I got into game design and development about 6 years or so, and have slowly been building my skills and trying things out. And this is a game that I made and released about 2 years ago. This was the second game I made. The first game was Off Peak, a game called Off Peak. It's a free game. Yeah, sure. And then I made this, and I was invited to participate in the Game Center's incubator program. So the Game Center actually helped bring this into fruition. So that is kind of my background here as a New York resident. I'm also a music performer. Spent many years playing the cello in various studio situations and live situations. So a lot of that part of my life is in this game, in all of my games. Composer, avid board gamer, love, in my spare time I'd always come home after a day in the studio or at rehearsal and I'd play like Vampire the Masquerade or something, Bloodlines, or Deus Ex, or you name it, Arcanum. I mean, my PC gaming appetite is very
I can
deep.
play if you want to talk.
Oh.
We can take turns
yeah,
too.
maybe we should, because
if it's easier for you to just narrate.
Yeah, I
while
was kind of going
around.
back and forth, and but yeah. So my background as a gamer was kind of over here, and then my life as a musician was over there. And at a certain point, I started to mess around with game design software. One thing led to another. Time went on. My skill set kept growing, and I realized I wanted to tell these sort of visual stories, 3D explorable worlds that were very thematic and vibey.
Oh, look at the city.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of bootstrapped my skills, and I needed playtesting help and support and design feedback and guidance. So luckily, NYU exists and existed then too. So
how do you feel about the term walking simulator? Because I would say that's how a lot of people might think of this work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically it is, but it's also, I always try to push back at it a little bit and say, well, there's more you can do. You're not just walking, you're also talking, you're picking up items,
Oh, we are picking up items. Look at us.
You have an inventory.
Take that, walking sims.
You have some light puzzle elements. So I think that there's a little more going on there.
Oh, we have a question in the chat. Aesthetic Goose asks, good username, Aesthetic Goose asks, what game engine is this running on?
This is Unity. Unity version 5.3.
Can you unstretch the caption?
So yes, I made this in Unity.
Yeah.
And I did most of my modeling in Blender. Most of the models of the people who you're going to see were made using a program called Fuse by Mixamo, which is now owned by Adobe. And everything else I kind of just rolled my own.
Nice. So what should we do? Oh, you can eavesdrop on conversations or interrupt them. So if we're standing from a distance, it looks like
you're kind of easing, checking out what they're talking about away from you.
But if I butt in,
if you butt in
like a jerk, they're
like, hey,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing here? And if you continue to interact with them, they'll have more to say on the world and on the situation.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, I like to call my games first-person adventure games, which is sort of an aspirational way of describing them because these aren't like hard thinky puzzles. They're not like Myst or Talos or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they still require a bit of activity in on the part of the player. They still require the player to pay attention to what's going on,
Oh wow, look at
react
that.
to what's
It's
going
fancy.
on, and consider the surroundings. So
Um, so, tell us a little bit about your thinking with this scene where we're in the road tunnel and there's like an
Yeah.
aquarium and stuff.
So I had an aquarium in my last game, and I liked the idea of that you're in a space, but on the other side of a wall is this incredibly powerful mass of water that if the glass were to break, it would like flood the space. So it's like potential energy. It's like potential, and it's this space you can't access. It's like it's this other world of this turtle floating around. You can't go there. You can't even survive in a space like that, but it exists for you to look into and to sort of accept it at face value. And yes, maybe it's a bit of a display. It's a bit of like, ooh, look at my turtle, or ooh, look at my aquarium. Like, why do people have aquariums in their apartments? Why do they have fish tanks? Some people have fish tanks. They have people like that sort of thing. So this is like the sort of larger than life version of the fish tank, and all that implies and all that conjures for people. It's like, why do people have water beds? Why do people have water in their lives in ways that maybe they shouldn't or don't have to?
Sure.
So that's the long answer.
That's a good answer. Hold that thought when you fix this. And now you can switch.
Out to Grundislav in the chat room. Out to the Real Pain 97. Always good to see the chat room folks being boisterous.
Big up the massive.
So yeah, I mean, you're getting a key. This is like a tutorial. All of this is like a giant tutorial in disguise of how to play the game. You pick up the key, you can click on the handle, you unlock it, then you get these vouchers and this battery. So it's kind of teaching you how to play the game. And then you open this, you place it, and then boom, you're in.
So tell us about these lovely rock faces, literal cliff faces.
So this is kind of like a few things are going on here. One, this is a bit of a Mount Rushmore vibe. I'm kind of getting into this idea that whoever owned this place had Mount Rushmore heads. They also sing. The mouths open and the speakers emanate tones, so it's a bit of a sound art installation as well, which kind of fits in with the theme of the game, the theme of the characters in the game and the world building. And it's just a way, if you kind of go through this, the player can kind of generate the tones as they see fit. Depending on where they stand, the stone faces will sing at them. And they sing out into this sort of field. So it's definitely like this yodeling on the mountainside kind of approach.
Okay. Yeah, I never thought about how they're actually facing the city, so that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yep, they're facing out towards the city, singing. So this is a bit of approximation. This guy is sort of like talking to you about who you are, where you are. These signs kind of indicate their kind of pictography of, okay, the turtle's that way, the heads are that way, the parking is this way, the front desk, and there's a piano. So it's a bit of like symbology that tries to be consistent with, putting you on a path, sending you on a direction.
So at Game Center, we often tell our students to try to iterate a lot, to iterate on their level design, iterate on their game design, try different rules and all so on. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how this beginning part has been iterated. Like, what were some of the things you tried at first, and how did that develop as you worked on it?
This game, or this beginning, didn't exist in its inception. It
Or I
started.
can take the controls too.
It
so you can
started
talk.
with. I'll have you. Yeah, check out what's in the trunks. So the game started with literally just the hotel space itself. It was just the building on a hill.
Oh.
And then I kind of zoomed outward from there. So this whole tutorial, this whole beginning, going up into the space, that came later. That came from needing to tutorialize the game. That came from wanting to set up the mood, and create anticipation. It was iterated upon quite a bit. This game took about 2 years to make.
Wow.
And it was mainly me on my lonesome. And then toward the end, there was some QA testing and some more extensive testing. But also there was a lot of people playing it, giving feedback. You obviously were giving feedback, other people at the Game Center. So it was, the iterative process was just kind of like slow and steady. But the opening in particular was, it was definitely intentional, and it served this purpose to set up the world, contextualize it, build anticipation, and teach you how to play. And all of those things needed to happen, and they kind of evolved into that being ultimately a useful thing.
Tell us about these two characters. Who's this kind of drunk-looking gentleman, and then this coy partner?
Yeah, so they're both members of. This is kind of my fun with Mixamo. It's like,
who doesn't have fun with Mixamo?
It's like RPG character creation, but off the rails. And I did this with Off Peak too. I like to give the characters, with my relatively limited facility of character design, I try to use their outfits as a way of coding who they are and telling a story of who they are. They're both wearing these like blue suede kind of business suit outfits with modulo symbols on the front jacket.
Yeah.
That is the company they work for. They're like part of a faction in the game. They're part of this company retreat that's gone up to this hotel. They're interested in ultimately purchasing it, and I won't say too much beyond that. But they have a stake in the future of this place, and they're kind of acting like they run the place, and they're kind of acting like they've got some sway. So they have a company handbook.
Yeah, tell us more about why did you call this company Modulo? Like, what's the significance of the Modulo symbol, which is a symbol used in programming, if you're not familiar, I don't know, it's hard to even just explain what the modulo is.
What the modulo is. It's like the remainder?
It's like the remainder. It tells you the remainder based on the divisor, I guess. So what does that mean to you?
So that, to me, it's kind of an aesthetic thing, because the symbol of the modulo is really interesting. But yeah, it's like this weird programming thing. It's like a reference to this quirky programming technique of getting the remainder. It sounded like a company that would exist as like this
Modulo. Yeah, that's a good startup name, actually.
Yeah, it's like a weird startup name that like
imagine.
grows. It's like a Facebook or a Twitter. It's like one of those startups that becomes so big that nobody knows they don't even know what to do with themselves. So they're taking over these far-flung hotels, like this one, and they want to turn it into a server farm. He mentions that in his dialogue. So. They're not interested in its history or in its cultural cachet or in its what happened here. They're just like, ooh, real estate. So that was something I wanted to say in the game. Without saying it explicitly, they're talking about it as if it's an inevitability to the company within the fiction of the world.
So one of my favorite parts of Norwood Suite is this fictional world you're building up, and how you do all this like environmental storytelling and stuff. So just briefly in a sentence, what's the story with this trunk? What are you you are one of the best game developers in terms of just surprising players with opening a trunk. Wait, that's olive oil and a skull? What is going on here?
I really like juxtaposing different items together in such a way that it makes, and I like doing this with sound as well, making players have to like make some sort of connection between the items, because it's like not totally unbelievable that somebody would pack a trunk with this, but it does require a bit of like thinking as to who might. So
There's a hook and a cheese.
like clearly this person loves fishing for the big fish.
Sure.
And is on a long boat ride and needs some sustenance. And this is their like packing for the journey.
Do you remember what's in this trunk?
Let's see. Ah, yes. So this is a dodgeball club, and they're setting up out in the parking lot. They have their like cones, and they're putting their cones out, and they're gonna set up a dodgeball, like an impromptu dodgeball game. And then along the way, one of them happens to have come into the possession of a bust, and possibly the dodgeball hit the bust. The bust fell off the mantle, and the face came off. So. Don't play dodgeball around your marble busts, Robert.
Okay, so that makes like a lot of sense now that you've connected the dots. But I mean, it's also nice to like not even. I mean, like, if folks in the chat, maybe you had a different story to tell about this, right?
Like this is my interpretation of at the moment. Nobody's is wrong. This is just kind of like what I was thinking about. I've played a couple of impromptu dodgeball games on the grass or in the parking lot. People own marble busts,
Yeah, all interpretations valid, right?
Nothing is out of bounds. Not totally unbelievable. Out to if.
Oh my God, is that a little cat?
Yeah. So
who keeps their cat in a trunk?
It's a. Well, there's some party hats.
Oh, so it's a fake cat.
Are
we supposed to understand this as a real cat or a fake cat?
It's kind of a security device.
Okay.
Cat. It's like it's ambiguous as to whether or not it's fake or not.
In the chat, someone has a good take on this. LFGATUF. I don't know. How would you say that? How would you pronounce it?
Lufgatuf.
Wait. The Nightbot's being mean. Nightbot needs to chill out. I'm sorry. Yeah, Lufgatuf. These are the remainders of characters' lives. That's like an interesting interpretation.
Yeah, no, that's a good. I mean, these are people who are staying at the hotel. And yeah, this is like their lives. Like this is environmental storytelling.
Wow, look at that.
So this is whoever this belongs to clearly has a whole synth operation going on.
Armor Class 0? That's an intense mixer.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, Thaco reference. Good eye there. And then this one is locked.
Oh my God, I want to open this one. Oh my God.
It's locked.
Oh well.
But
maybe there's a way to unlock
foreshadowing. So I love foreshadowing in my games. I love sort of like all of this is kind of a big foreshadow.
Let's go ahead and walk into the hotel proper, right?
Let's go up the hill.
Oh, tell me about these. What are these banners on top? I've never noticed these symbols up here.
So these are symbols that are from Norwood. So this was once in the fiction of the game. This was once a mansion of this piano player of renown. He was kind of like a Glenn Gould of his day. He's like a larger than life kind of musician celebrity.
Yeah.
And that was a language that he had access to. That's sort of a vague reference to his history. It's like his banner.
So it's him like personalizing the space, kind of.
But they kept it. So now we're in the hotel proper.
We should check into the hotel, I think.
We should check into the hotel. Those are the
Oh, he's wearing a key on his t-shirt. That's a cool t-shirt. I would wear that t-shirt.
It's reinforcing his role. Like all the outfits tell the story of who they are and what their function in the world is. So that's my way of doing it for that person. It's late at night. They're at the hotel. I'm a big fan of movies that have hotels in them, and this is a reference to any movie like that. And they're like looking at the front desk.
The Shining?
Or Mystery Train, or Um, yeah, I mean, there's a whole Wikipedia page of like movies with
Oh,
that are
hotel
set-
movies.
or Grand Budapest Hotel.
Ah, okay.
You know,
We need to give something in exchange.
so what did we get in the from that
Oh.
box out in the up?
We got this
Yeah,
Hotel Norwood voucher.
the Hotel Norwood voucher. So you gave it. Take a look at that.
Apologies to the stream, by the way. We don't have sound working on our mic capture setup. The sound in this game is gorgeous, but sometimes technology interferes with our artistic.
I'm no stranger to the
aspiration.
technical challenges of sound and streaming and this and that.
But definitely pick up this game and you will hear the gorgeous music and all the sound design that you unfortunately cannot hear right now.
It's a tease in a way.
Yeah, this is just the demo. You know,
It's
get
the
the real
demo.
thing later on. Oh, we have to go to the computer behind us.
So another thing I'm doing with design is any like important words I use, I put in white text, and that's another way of sort of helping players prioritize what they're supposed to be doing in the world.
Oh, I turned the screen on. I have to turn the computer on too. Very realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, but I cannot seem to turn the computer on. Oh no. I think these plugs are messed up. I'm gonna unplug this lamp maybe,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna plug in the
The green.
computer.
Yeah.
Now I can turn on the computer. Oh no, there's no Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi,
So
just like in real hotels.
give me just like in real hotels.
Real bed and breakfast hotels have hit or miss Wi-Fi.
Really?
Yeah, depending on the hotel.
Interesting.
The cheaper ones, you can't really.
So this puzzle's kind of inspired by your real life experience staying in hotels,
Yeah. So
trying to fix their Wi-Fi.
yes, in fact, as a musician on the road, sometimes you find yourself in somewhat bizarre.
Lunksys router.
Somewhat bizarre living situations or,
Oh my
or
goodness.
hospitality situations, and no, the Wi-Fi does not work. So
Okay, so let's just go back to the hotel desk
Yeah.
and tell them their Wi-Fi's broke.
yeah,
What the
that's
hell?
what you would do in real life.
Hey, what's wrong with the Wi-Fi? You'll have to reset the That's very realistic.
Yeah, very.
That's how you fix the Wi-Fi, right?
You do.
Unplug
You
it and
reset.
plug it back
Many
in.
people who have home Wi-Fi, if it doesn't work.
Oh, then there's the library.
Yeah. So you can go anywhere in this hotel right from the get-go.
wow.
You don't have to just go figure out the Wi-Fi. You can just wander away, and that was a big facet of the journey for me. It was like giving players the opportunity to do any of these activities in the hotel in whatever order they wanted, and in whatever flow or approach. So that was a big like gameplay tenet I had.
Right, to be like pretty like non-linear,
Yeah.
prescriptive. Oh my God! Wait, I've owned this router before.
As have I. Many people of a certain age
This is like
have owned. It was like
This is like a white plastic lawn chair of like routers, right?
Yes,
Like it's just
it
like
is.
so ubiquitous.
it is yep, but they didn't turn on like that.
No, this is a fancy one. I
Yeah.
like the startup. See, oh my God! And I don't know of any routers with eyeballs in them. Jesus Christ!
Well, this is a special model, the Lunksys
It's the
model.
Lunksys, right? Wow. Okay. Oh, and look at this. Oh my God. So another very distinctive feature of the Norwood Suite, I think, is all these like posters and artwork.
Yeah.
Like, can you tell us a little bit about this? Like, did you make this artwork?
This is a bit
What's
of
going on?
Yeah, well, this is kind of a collage of old like mid-century posters or like really really old books
Uh-huh.
and really old design, kind of obscure design manuals and stuff that I just Photoshop collaged together. So this is like a composite of a few different things. I think that elephant is from some poster from some festival in Norway in 1945 or something. And then I overlaid some music, I found some eyes, and I kind of just put it all together, or sort of reworked it.
So you have like a lot of like vintage inspirations, kind of, right?
Yes. So in the chat, somebody asked, how does Zo compare to Go?
I don't get it.
Zo is the game that they're playing downstairs.
Oh.
So they're playing a board
Okay.
game, and there's a few different, and there were those boards in one of the trunks. There was boards for Zo.
There were Zo boards.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a book that
Let's
you
peek
get.
out this
Yeah,
game.
the Zo.
Oh my God.
This is it's like an abstract area control game.
Oh wow.
And there Bruce, the gentleman on the left, is not doing so well. Clem, the woman on the right, is advancing the blue piece forward and kind of putting Bruce on the back foot. So I would say Zo is probably a bit easier to learn than Go. No, Go's pretty easy to learn, but difficult to master.
Oh, we need to get him a strategy guide.
Yeah, he needs a strategy
The
guide.
Zo strategy guide.
Right.
I've never done this quest before. Let's see. I didn't even know you could help them. I've always just walked past them when I've played this. But it's good to appreciate the finer things.
Yeah, no.
Let's help
soak it
these
up.
folks. Where would the Zo strategy guide be? There's no Dewey Decimal System at work here.
When you say Dewey Decimal System, no, there's not.
No, that's a radio. Maybe let's try the next floor up.
The next floor. What is in the next floor? Ooh, what's that?
Oh, look at this sparkling thing. Maybe.
Yup.
Oh.
Mastering Zo. There you go. So just a bit of poking around, exploring, and the answer reveals itself.
You know, I'd like this to become. I think you should do like a Zachtronics kind of move, where you like actually make a Zo minigame.
Yeah, I would consider a Zo minigame as part of the experience.
Okay, let's give this person their Zo.
Comprehensive guide to the game of Zo. Well, if it wasn't a copy of Mastering Zo.
Wait, but this is cheating. Like,
it's a strategy guide. It's not cheating. It's like emotional support. It's like the inner game of tennis. The book, The Inner Game of Tennis. When I was a student of cello, and I was like,
oh, they gave me a key.
Yep, his closet key.
Oh, 308. Okay.
I was told to read The Inner Game of Tennis.
Yes.
Because the inner game of tennis is not dissimilar to performing. It was an interesting read. There were a lot of parallels.
So let's try to find room 308. That's 307. This is 308. Oh, the door's already open. Oh my God. Okay, so one other beautiful feature of Norwood Suite is how we like get to know everyone through like their possessions and also through their rooms and how they decorate their spaces, right?
Yeah.
So this is Bruce's burger room. Tell me, he really likes food, it seems.
He's the cook. He's the chef at the hotel. So this is like his personal quarters. He took up residence at the
Oh wait,
place.
he was wearing a chef's hat, wasn't he?
He was wearing a chef's hat. Again, going back to the every character has a role.
And he likes games.
He likes his game and donuts.
Donuts and dice. Oh, and then some kind of, oh my God, what is, oh my goodness.
Yep, that's a book, one of the book.
What's the title?
The Fairy Land of Science.
Oh.
Why it's upside down, but we'll roll with it.
There we go, Fairyland of Science.
Yeah.
Oh, gorgeous book cover.
Yeah, that's one of the vintage books. Who knows? I just wanted to feature it because it looked really lovely.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a like diner vibe, right?
Yeah,
this is
bit
like
of a diner, like
50s diner
he's
sign.
trying to channel this like diner vibe. Sliding doors. Not too much going on in here.
Oh my God, I have a reflection. Look at me. Wow, features.
Touches. Yeah, no interaction, sadly. No flusher.
No flushable toilet?
In this room, no. that didn't quite make the cut. Oh, that's Zo. That's a Zo.
Oh, this is a Zo strategy.
Yep, Zo strategy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
In the chat, Capsur asks, says, those donuts are littered all over the hotel. Frankly, they don't look very appetizing. They kind of look like, I'm not a fan of Entenmann's donuts. They kind of remind me of Entenmann's
Yeah,
donuts.
I mean, they're like that. I was trying to go for Dunkin' Donuts chocolate glazed.
Right.
Those are always the ones that go first. In my
Really?
experience.
When you get like a dozen
when
donuts.
you get a donut, or even the holes, when you get donut holes and you open the box and you put them out.
They're not donut holes. They're what do they call them in Dunkin' Donuts?
It's been a while since I've been to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I don't really go there
These days.
We need to have a Dunkin' Donuts ad, like right here.
Dunkin' Donuts is not sponsoring the Game Center TV.
No, and actually they're a little gross. They're actually not. There's much better donut places. I like Dough.
Dough's great.
Dough is lovely. Dunwell Donuts is also very good too. Donut Factory. If you're in New York City, do not go to Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, there's like a million better donut places to go to.
Those of you living in North Carolina, I'm about to visit Duck Donuts. You fill out a card, so there's some good donuts out there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
In North Carolina? Oh, interesting.
They got Duck Donuts.
What are you going to North Carolina for, if I may ask? Is it an event?
Visiting an old friend.
Ah, okay.
Personal. But he's an old gamer friend, and he's play tested all my games, and he tells it to me straight.
Now, for some reason, I'm gravitating to this painting. This painting speaks to me. I think I'm getting some intense vibes from this painting.
I didn't make this painting. I'll just say that. This is not a painting of my own design. This is a painting, I think it's some street art that I can attribute to a specific artist whose name is escaping me.
Now, if you're watching this stream and you're not sure what's going on here, this is, first of all, ask your parents. But second of all, on the right is the Empire State Building, and on the left is the Chrysler Building.
That. I didn't even notice that.
Oh, you didn't even notice that? So this is a very New York kind of visual we're looking at here.
It's a bit, I see it more as a fun dance floor.
They're wrestling.
A bit of a,
they're wrestling. They're
maybe
hugging.
A grind. It might be or it might be some moves you see at a wedding dance.
A little bit hot and heavy.
A little bit.
And there's a treadmill here.
So Bruce eats, to counterbalance his donut habit and his sedentary Zoe lifestyle, he's got a treadmill.
Gwendislav mentioned in the chat, Donut Plant. Oh shit, did I say Donut Factory? I think I said Donut Factory. It's Donut Plant, that's correct. And also, Hung in the chat says, Munchkins. That's what...
Munchkins!
And that's what the donut holes...
Yeah.
But Munchkins is not appetizing sounding. What is Dunkin' Donuts thinking? That's not...
Yeah, that's...
They should have A/B tested that better.
They should rethink that branding.
So Brucey here has some cool windows here.
Yeah, he's just looking out at the landscape.
Great view.
That is just the terrain tool in Unity with some shader.
Wow, you painted that with the terrain tool? It looks almost like a photographic skybox.
I used one of those terrain generator plugins.
Okay, to do all the erosion and stuff.
And then I took a 3D skybox view of it, and I used a sprite that had kind of a gradient in the center, and I just kind of layered those to sort of simulate fog. It's like a fake gradient.
Tell me, what is this? So this is Brucey's bedroom.
Yep, that's it.
He also likes turtles, meat, donuts.
He's just a relatable person.
There's a lot of characterization going on.
Yeah. And you don't actually talk to him much. You talk to him through that limited interaction.
Dreaming and doing.
But
he's interested in dreams.
But you learn about him through his. This is some Gone Home style. You learn about somebody through the world that they've created in their private space.
I'm scared to know what the button will do to the turtle. Like, I'm kind of scared to press the button
That's
almost.
fine. I mean, it
But
wants you to press
But I'm
it.
gonna do it anyway.
Yep. So far, nothing.
Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna flush the turtle down.
The condition at which it does that has not been met yet. But, ooh, what's this?
What is that?
So you would hear a sound coming from the main room.
Okay.
Oh, what's this?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that switch opened something.
A hidden compartment.
I guess the treadmill was a red herring.
It was a red herring, indeed. So let's go down. Yep. Ooh. Okay, so we're in a hidden tunnel. We're in one of the back passages. The history of Norwood's life is revealed in this back passage.
Oh, wow. So yeah, there's all these secret passages in the Norwood Suite. This is just one of them.
And you're learning about this person who once lived here and the people that played in his band.
Ah. So I like that you I like this whole wax figure vignette approach.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's not realistic at all, and it's just very expressionistic instead. Like we're supposed to just read into it.
Yeah.
It's a very theatrical approach to storytelling.
It's kind of like the Museum of Natural History style. Like you learn about these people's lives through just seeing them in this split moment. And I'm not making a painting. I'm making a sort of a wax figure scene.
Oh, and of course his secret passage which opened to the kitchen.
He needs access. He needs it's like servants' quarters.
Wow.
Private access. So you're in the kitchen.
Oh my God, this sink
there's a bit of passive aggressive.
No, shouldn't this be the sanitation sink?
Yeah.
This should be the or not the sanitation sink, the disinfecting sink, right?
You know,
I've been in a restaurant grade food kitchen thing before, where you have different sinks, different compartments, right?
I can't vouch for the functional accuracy of this kitchen.
It's okay.
Just the general sense of reinforcing protocol.
Oh my goodness, I think we should wear some hairnets.
So there's some
knife safety. So much signage everywhere. Ooh, bananas.
Yeah, a couple of bananas. Oh.
Little flips his boing vertical. Dude, that's a sex thing. Is that a sex thing?
Magnetic poetry. You're always tempted to make it you see it on the fridge of someone's house. You might want to do something.
Frog dialysis. That's a sex thing. Rascals basking. That's a sex thing.
Okay.
So I just have a dirty mind, but
you know
that's
what?
That's where poetry goes. That's
where
poetry takes
That's
me.
where poetry leads us.
Oh. There's something in here. Ooh, a hunk of boar's head oven gold turkey. I think I've confronted you about this, that this is my favorite turkey brand. Not that we want to keep doing food advertisements on this show, but
it is a local business.
We just want to support Boar's Head.
No, Boar's Head's it's a fine brand. No salt. They've been in business for a long time. So, Slice-O-Matic. What do you think you want to? Yeah.
I think we should make a sandwich.
I think we should make a sandwich.
So here's some Boar's Head turkey. I think I have to slice it first.
Yep.
That's an amazing. Oh my God, it's a dog. Oh my God, what's that dog doing to the turkey?
You'll find out. Giving it the proper slice treatment. Giving it the proper treatment. Several slices of oven gold turkey, and that is an actual Boar's Head brand.
Oh my God. Okay, so so did you photo source actual oven gold turkey?
I took a picture with my phone of the turkey that I had for lunch one day when I was making this game.
These are authentic turkey textures.
Everything to do with the food preparation of this game has been
oh my goodness,
carefully researched and sourced.
I wish I could fry an egg in this game.
I take my sandwich making seriously in real life.
Sandwiches are serious business. Oh my God, look at all this lettuce and tomato. We can have it all, right?
This is an industrial grade
kitchen.
Wait,
that's cabbage. Sorry, not
cabbage
lettuce.
Is kind of a cheaper alternative. You can get more bang for your buck with cabbage.
Pretzel bun top.
Yeah.
Let's get all our sandwich materials together.
Put it together. There's the wheels of cheese.
Oh,
The
okay.
callback to the cheese.
Oh my God, that's a jump scare.
A little bit.
Okay, let's finish our sandwich, right?
Yeah, let's commit. So out to the chat room, the secret passageways. Thank you, Kepser. Those look like Yoshi eggs. Yeah, that isn't actually an astute observation. It's a slight.
They are Yoshi eggs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Yoshi egg reference. So
Interesting.
good work on that.
Oh, our cabbage is ready.
Cabbage is ready.
That looks like a straight up full ass photo of cabbage.
It was. I mean, it's not supposed to be that big. I think the I don't know what resolution this is, but I'm rolling with it. But yeah,
I mean,
it is
we're doing some funky resolution stuff to get the
That's
stream
okay.
working.
Whatever it takes
Unfortunately.
to get this out to the people.
Okay, so the dog's finished with this tomato.
And then I think.
Oh, this looks like a beefsteak tomato. That's
It is a beefsteak
ideal for sandwich making.
Absolutely.
You, sir, are a sandwich connoisseur.
I take my sandwiches very seriously.
Oh wait, no, we have to put the mozzarella on top. I was
yes,
jumping the gun.
Mozzarella.
I don't know if I can find the mozzarella in here though. It might be cut off.
Oh.
We might just have to finish the sandwich with no mozzarella, I think.
That's okay.
Oh, it won't let us.
Oh.
I mean, the game has sandwich opinions. Fair enough.
You're right. It does.
Well, you know, an incomplete sandwich is even more tantalizing in my opinion.
I think so. I think that its time will come.
Its time will come. Okay, well, let's leave the kitchen and explore more of the Norwood Suite, maybe.
Okay.
Did you want to
I'll
us
take the
where you
lead.
want to go?
Yeah, so we're going to go into, this is the dining room, which has been cleared out in order to facilitate a large bowling game. And you can actually, when you push against the pins, they light up and they play music.
Oh my goodness.
So again, this is like, we've kind of veered off of the main plot entirely, and we're just poking through the hotel. I'll take you now into there's a little mini theater where Norwood used to perform.
Oh wow.
And this is like in a barn, and that's Norwood. That's all, and all of his people. You might recognize at least two of them from that secret passageway.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and there's the Norwood Suite, the Norwood Etudes. So you can't get in there. So that's another piece of the puzzle here.
We have to disable the security lock.
Yeah, eventually. And this is a group of a music teacher and her students. She's talking about the legacy of Norwood. There's Norwood and his, what he did. Oh, there's his game of Zo, another Zo board over there.
Oh, so he was a Zo player
He was an
as
avid
well.
Zo player.
Oh.
And that's mentioned, that he enjoyed his Zo games. So.
He and Brucey should get together, right?
Norwood's gone. Norwood
that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. So this is the guy supplying the drinks for the party downstairs.
Oh my goodness. What is this? This is... Oh, Blue Moose.
Yeah, Blue Moose.
Kegs of energy drinks? I've never had like Red Bull in like a keg.
Well,
That's too much Red Bull.
In the fiction of this world, that is what drives late night parties. Now, I'll just say, those of you who are familiar with Red Bull in real life, for about 10 years, more than that, 20 years, Red Bull had something called the Red Bull Music Academy.
Oh, yeah.
And they have sort of funded a lot of high concept musical events in various cities all over the world. And it was sort of this weird, like, advertising meets co-opting music scenes meets just they really cared about the music and the culture, and they wanted their brand involved.
So that's why you have all the Blue Moose stuff in there to kind of speak to that history, right?
To speak to that way of marketing music and art. So I'm going to go through a little bit. I'm sorry if people are lost in this hotel, but that's...
Folks in the chat, feel free to ask questions, anytime you're curious about something. Our We have our guest here for 10 more minutes, so do not be shy.
This is the party that you're ultimately trying to get to. This is the main mission, is to get down into this dance party, and this guard, who is the same guard in all of my games.
He's like the mythical bouncer, right?
Yeah,
he's
that
like
guy. The archetypal bouncer type meets secret policeman, like Stasi, like communist.
Bouncers are all Stasi? Okay, cool. But we can't go in.
You can't go in yet.
Fully
assembled costume to enter the party. So we got to put a costume piece together. So this is where, again, this is like my commitment to, it's not just walking around. Like there's a mission you're on. There's stuff you want to do. You got things to do here. And here's some people at the bar.
We have a question in the chat.
We have a question.
Gwenislav asks, how's Tales from Off-Peak City coming along?
So this is my next game. It's gonna come out imminently. It's coming out in Q1, 2020. So that's all I can say. Mm-hmm. But it's coming along. It's almost ready, frankly.
Oh, this is the same character we were talking to before.
Yes, she moved.
Oh, it doesn't matter though. I gave him the strategy guide and it still didn't help him.
Well, we don't really know.
She still destroyed him.
Yes, and yes, didn't matter.
Oh well. Zoe is a tough game.
Didn't matter. I think the picture may have paused.
Oh, geez. Oh, maybe, yeah, try to fix that. Oh, geez. Can you tried unplugging and plugging back in? And then deactivate and activate? Wow, human cam has never frozen before. It's never let us down like this before.
Too real.
That's also not me. That's in the photo mode. Oh my God, we're back! Yay! Sorry, chat. Hopefully I wasn't frozen like that for an hour. That would have been weird.
I just noticed it.
Okay.
Human cam is frozen. I think it's all right because
It's pretty recent, right?
Pretty recent. Live TV. I mean, this is
live television, folks. It's a phenomenon. It's a thing. Where should we go next?
Let's go talk to the front desk, and then we can go back and get into our room. I think you got the wireless internet functional. The computer should be working now. So we're taking it back to the main mission. So yeah, the computer is working.
Oh. Oops, I kept waiting for them to give me something. I totally forgot we were supposed to do this.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
because that's like the fun of it, right? You kind of go down this tangent. Yeah. There's so many tangents in these games, and you just get super into them. Mm-hmm. Oh no, wait, do we have to print?
Nope, it's automatic.
Okay. Of course, modern hotels these days usually have computers at the desk.
It's like on your smartphone that you redeem. Yeah.
Or they have phones, or they have iPads. You check in through the iPad, right?
Definitely.
Oh no, which hotel room are they going to give me?
316.
316, the Norwood Suite. Uh-oh.
Foreshadowing again. So they're talking about the boss, Nadia.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of story.
There's some tension.
Oh. And then are they going to give me my key yet?
Boom.
Oh, okay. 204. And then it's probably approaching the end as we go into 204.
I think that's a good idea. So it's just to the left.
Oh, oops.
and then we'll call it 203. Oh, who's this?
204. Wait, what? This is my room. Hey, lady.
I know.
What are you doing in front of my room? Oh.
Piano key.
And oh my goodness, what is going on
So more
here?
clues to get you even closer to your...
So these are all surveillance cameras?
Yep. And a note.
So I'll take the piano key. There's a note. If you are reading this, then you have successfully checked into your room. At the concierge desk, a gentleman will give you a compact disc. You must take it without hesitation. It's for DJ Bogart, who is currently spinning records in a dance party in the hotel basement. Oh, so we have to get into the basement.
Yeah.
But to get into the basement, we have to figure something out. This piano key and these computer monitors should offer guidance on that front. Huh, okay. Oh, and then there's things in drawer. I like how the drawers are slightly ajar, so that invites us to open them.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of iteration and suggestion have gone into
Dreaming
making
and
this.
doing.
Dreaming and doing, yeah, and revising. Oh, and here's we'll end it here. This is the flushable toilet. But oh, look at this.
Wait, I turned the volume down. The toilet ignores your volume slider.
Just like in real life.
Oh, and now we're on this another secret passage, going through all this neon. Look at that. I love the piano hallway.
Yep. So that's sort of before, and then turn around and you
wow.
see after.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he's thrown some tea.
Yep.
He's upset. There was a falling out.
Yep.
Apparently.
Well, he runs his ship with an iron fist, so to speak. You know, he really. So once we see where this leads, then I think we can hand it off.
Okay. So let's go in here. Pull the switch. Oh.
And we're back in the bar. Try to have a mini
there.
Dark Souls shortcut moment.
Okay, so this is the Dark Souls of walking simulators.
I was reaching. I don't know if I got there, but it was an homage.
I think the comparison is apt. All right, well, oh, what's up there? Oh, someone's watching us. Oh dear. So, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again to Greg for showing us around Norwood Suite, telling us about what's going on in the game, and giving us some cool stories. Do you want to shout out about your next project real quick and remind people about it?
Yeah. So in the upcoming year, my next game is imminent. It's called Tales from Off-Peak City. It's basically in the same style. There's a bit more to do in terms of there's a pizza making mini game building on my sandwich mini game.
Oh, nice.
There's some you can take pictures in the world, and it's the same world. It's the same kind of fiction. It's the same universe. There's some overlapping characters. There's some overlapping stories. Obviously, you don't need to have played this to get into that, but it's like all set in the same kind of world, basically. And dive in again, you know, and there'll be more to come. So.
And what's the date for that? Where you should Q2, Q1?
Q1. So Q1. I should be looking at the camera here. Q1.
All right.
So.
Okay. So maybe we'll have you on again when you launch that. That might be good to walk around. Good
stuff.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
Awesome.
Let's shake hands and look at the camera.
Yeah, this is like the U.S. Open.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, and then just hand that over to Naomi. Our next segment, we always want to do like some kind of industry roundup, industry news roundup, and go over the news. And with that, we have our industry news expert, Naomi Clark.
Experts.
I mean, we are experts, right? Like when.
Well, relative to the average person.
But like when like journalists are like, oh, who should we call? Who should we get a quote from? They want NYU professor.
Yeah, well, I don't
Naomi
know.
Clark.
Maybe to say something intellectual about games. I'm not going to pretend to be like used friend Droynin over here. He used to teach at. Still teaches at NYU.
Yeah, we are
he's
not
like
business
the real
experts.
business industry expert. But yeah, maybe we're experts on the culture of video games.
Uh-huh.
Totally. So yeah. So what do we got?
Remember, you have to
News
unlock it
stories?
and scale it. Okay, so, but let's just cut to the other view anyway.
Can you really be addicted to video games?
So our first news story today is a big New York Times Magazine feature about video games. Can you be addicted to video games? Naomi, walk us through about what it's talking about.
Yeah, so this is an interesting story. It's a topic that a lot of people are familiar with in the last year or so, or I mean, much longer as well. But it's a very long-form article in the New York Times Magazine that really tries to look at lots of different sides of this topic, which very rarely happens. Like, I don't know if I've seen...
It's like they investigated. It's like they reported on it.
Yeah.
And collected different viewpoints.
Yeah, they actually tried to sort of show different sides of this, which it's rare that this happens for like a sensational topic like people being addicted to games. Yeah. And so, so like I think if I'm remembering correctly, this is somebody who was in rehab for video game addiction, and some of this article takes place at like a rehab center, and talking to people who their reliance on video games is like a coping mechanism or something that they're doing to avoid the rest of their life kind of took over and spiraled out of control. Like whatever you think of video game addiction as a concept, it's sort of hard to deny that those kinds of problems do exist for people. But then they're also talking to game designers and psychologists who are skeptical about this idea or have different points of view on it, and talking about how games have been scapegoated as like a moral ill, right? And those are all the different sides I think are important to talk about. They do look at the fact that gambling, well, interesting, so they're looking at gambling as a different thing from video games. Right. Which I think from our point of view as game designers, there's like not really a super bright dividing line except in a business model. Because especially with loot boxes and stuff these days, and any kinds of like random drops in RPGs, we're sort of aware that, yeah, you can put more or less randomness into a game and it has more or less of a gambling feel, right? But they're saying like, oh, people have studied gambling addiction, and that there are a bunch of like chemical properties that gambling addiction has, like, and it mostly has to do with dopamine and rewards and how the reward mechanism of your brain gets confused. I think the way I heard Bennett Foddy describe this once, and he's like an expert in addiction as well. It's what he was studying before he came to teach here at the Game Center, is that you're addicted to something when you keep doing it, even though it's not really providing you with the same kind of reward that it originally was. So you could get like addicted to gardening in theory, right? Like if you just kept doing it and you're like digging in the dirt, like no plants are coming up, but you just feel compelled to do it, and you're like, why can't I stop doing this? I hate it now, but I can't stop.
And presumably there are maybe people who do like experience that, right? Yeah,
sure. People get addicted to exercise. They get addicted to all sorts of things. So there's this complicated question about, does it actually help people to have it categorized as an addiction in order to get treatment? And they're talking in this article about like, well, it's actually kind of difficult for people to get treatment for this. And this one family, they had to like pay $20,000 to go to like to this place that's mentioned right here, Restart. It's really expensive, in part because it was like one of the only places that existed. Yeah. And but the thing that I thought was sort of profound about this article was that they said in the end, like the thing that all these people in rehab had in common was that playing games was filling a void in their life that they
I think that's the one, the poll quotes up here.
Right, that they were, they didn't have anybody. They were socially disconnected. They had a lack of intimacy. They were cut off from others, and that sort of spiraled and got worse. And so like that's the thing that they had to fix. And in part, they actually connected with other real human beings, with each other at this rehab center. And so maybe that was actually meaningful. But it shows it's a complicated thing. It's not like, people think of the boogeyman version of this as like, you play a video game and it hypnotizes you and then you're an addict, right? Of course, like nobody who's really going to look closely at this issue would believe that. But yeah, of course, people have real problems too. And so I don't know, the exact clinical categorization or legal classification, that's like, kind of a mess, right? That's always going to be a mess.
So basically it just feels like we just need to study this more, right?
Yeah,
Take this seriously, study it more, don't dismiss it.
Right, that's what most psychologists who are serious about this say. It's like, actually this needs more time. It shouldn't be sensationalized. You shouldn't use it as like a political prop or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, as Trump did, blaming violent video games, right?
Right, sure, yeah. That's it's an easy target.
Let's move on to our next news story. This is...
Oh, this is your uncle, Andrew
Jesus
Yang.
Christ. I might be paywall behind this. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Interesting.
Okay.
This is not my... This is...
Wait,
this is like
you're,
the terrible
you're not
uncle I
related
hate.
to, you're
Oh
not
my
related to Andrew Yang?
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God.
I see the family resemblance a little bit. No, I'm kidding. You don't look anything
No,
like
no,
that.
it's kind of creepy. I feel like there actually is a resemblance. I kind of hate it a little bit.
Yeah, so Andrew Yang, he's actually going on shows and like talking to gamers. He's like reaching out to the gamer community. This is the closest thing that we've actually had to like the gamer president running for president to represent the gamer community.
Oh, look at him with all those gamers. Oh, look at him.
The caption says these are young guests at the Washington Post. I don't know whether they're gamers or not.
Young
but
gamers.
they look like student government types. I don't know. But yeah, so he's talking about issues that are important to gamers, like should loot boxes be regulated? What about this Hong Kong incident with banning a Hearthstone player? How about video game addiction? Is it real? And actually, he sort of doesn't quite. He's like very equivocating on the question of video game addiction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, well, I think it needs to be studied more, which I guess is basically what we just said.
Right.
Well, he equivocates on Hong Kong too. He's like, well, this is a very complicated thing. Corporations are finding themselves in hot water having to deal with governments in new ways.
It's a complicated issue.
Yeah, so that's a typical politician thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Andrew Yang, I don't know. I think he's a tryhard.
He's like a giant tool. I kind of hate him.
Yeah,
This is not the opinion of NYU Game Center, by the way.
I think we have a problem with him as like maybe we're reacting to him as Asian Americans. We're being like, really, this guy?
He's like our first Asian American candidate, and he's just like.
Well, and like he's like has things that I'm interested in the idea of universal basic income. I'm not interested in his sort of like lottery version.
Yeah, his is kind of bullshit. His messes up Anyway, we should move on though before we get
not give
too
him
into
any
it.
more airtime.
But anyway, video games are certainly being wielded as a political tool, as we can see right here.
Yeah, it's like if people like this guy because they're like, he's a tech nerd like me.
He's the gamer president. Next up is another kind of controversial article making the rounds.
So this article is by Ian Bogost, who is a games academic. He's a professor down at Georgia Tech, a friend of many people here at the Game Center. And also has this columnist position at The Atlantic, where he just gets to write about games occasionally. Kind of a cool gig, right? But what does he use it for? He uses it to publish articles like this. Like this article made a ton of people mad. It's very obvious why. It says, don't play the goose game at the top. And people hate that.
That thing you like is bad.
Yeah, like, why did you do that? How dare you play that game? Right? Like, that's a really obvious, easy way to make people mad. Here's the interesting thing. This originally had a different title.
Oh, what was the title?
It was Video Games Are Better Without Gameplay.
Oh.
It's actually the third in a series because he previously published Video Games Are Better Without Stories and Video Games Are Better Without Characters.
Right, they might be linked somewhere around here, right?
They might be. I don't even sure if he linked it. It's sort of not exactly his style of writing. But this is basically an essay where Ian Bogost is kind of thinking about stuff. He's like, what about this? What about that? It doesn't really have a real conclusion, even though the headline makes it sound like it does. I got the inside scoop on this headline. These two headlines were tested against each other to see which would generate more clicks in like an A/B test. That's how they're doing headlines these days.
It's almost like The Atlantic just wants more clicks and clickbait. It's almost like they just want to make people mad, so they'll click on it.
So they get what they asked for, and Ian Bogost doesn't get to complete his triptych of like video games are better without this or that. The idea that video games would be better without gameplay. It's not that weird. There's a lot of people have said stuff like that. You've said stuff like that.
I've said it. Tales have said it. There's like a history of thought about this. You can even link this back to narratology, ludology debates, right?
Right. Like, how much do we really want to put the focus on the mechanics and goals and winning? In this case, he's talking about the process of playing and the fact that Untitled Goose Game is basically a lot of fetch quests. Right? And does that actually make the game better? Does it mean that you would rather watch someone else play it? That was sort of what your point was about like games could be produced more for the spectacle of playing than for the experience of playing.
Yeah, and I think that's not a controversial argument, right? It's fun to watch someone play Untitled Goose Game, right?
Right.
that's clearly something that everyone responds to. But that's a different message. And I think that's a message that he kind of gets to, kind of coalesces around in the piece, where he's talking about like memes and culture and stuff. But the headline just seems very inflammatory and not actually what he's even saying.
I just hate to see people falling for this. I mean, I can understand why they're mad. Even Ian's manner of writing is a little bit obnoxious. And it's also a little bit like, did you ever notice that playing games is actually a lot of work? That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? But there's something about that. There's something about that that's it's work to play. Whoa.
Naomi, stop doing that voice.
Yeah, so you can read it if you want. I guess it's sort of amusing. It's not really new, but like don't waste your time arguing on the internet about this. It's a trap. Okay.
Let's move on. Someone in the chat streamed Naomi. And in the chat, Quasi-Otter says, it's just good to ignore everything by Ian Bogost. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Just ignore some things, or...
The trick is to read them in the right way, where you're like, really? Like, he's a smart guy. He has interesting thoughts. That doesn't mean you need to accept his thoughts as gospel or be really mad about them. You can just be like, okay, I'm watching some guy thinking. That's fine.
Yeah, it's someone thinking out loud on a page. You
don't need to let his thoughts impinge on and take over your thoughts. Nobody actually really cares what Ian thinks. That's the trick. So even though it seems very authoritative in the way that he talks and the fact that he's in the Atlantic, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so again, this is not the official standpoint of NYU Game Center. These are our personal opinions again.
Yeah, well, it's like watching an old guy yell on a lawn, right? It's like can be amusing. I know Ian agrees with me, so I can say that.
And we're pals. We're pals in real life. Moving on to the next story, bots are making Fortnite players question what's real. So apparently, there was a few weeks ago we started talking about how they're doing more matchmaking and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then we were talking about how they were introducing this feature to kind of help new players. But now it seems like there's a big kerfuffle in Fortnite over whether people can't tell who's a bot and who's not a bot. I love this.
It's like a Turing test thing, right?
I think this is a great reason to have bots in your game, is to sort of turn it into a bit of a hidden role game, or to disrupt people's feeling of like whether they have actually owned somebody, right?
So you can like pretend to be a bot, right? Like start moving mechanically around in the game.
Yeah, or it basically puts Spy Party, the Chris Hecker game, inside of Fortnite, right?
Spy Party? Yeah, Spy Party is the latest property to be exploited
to just be absorbed,
and weaponized
right?
and absorbed by
First
Fortnite.
they came for the role-playing games, and they took the levels and the points. Then they came for Spy Party. They took your inability to distinguish between artificial intelligence and real people.
People are in crisis, right? I thought I was good, but it turns out I'm not good at video games.
Yeah,
right?
like how do I know whether I killed a human being and thereby demonstrated my superiority over other human beings?
Are you better than computers? Maybe you're not.
Well, yeah, there's some computers you cannot beat, like you can't beat Deep Blue at chess or that Go AI, AlphaGo at Go. So yeah, like I don't know, it depends on how good the bots are. The bots sort of look like human players, but they do weird things like build walls one piece at a time. Like, why? This seems like a deliberate design decision, but I don't know. I think Fortnite is just continuing to mutate and absorb different things, which is good, bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next story. This is from, what's Task and Purpose? What?
Well, this is
Is this like a military?
It's a military news website.
Oh,
yeah, I like to just grab stuff from everywhere. Yeah, what do you think the most requested video game is among U.S. service members and vets?
The most requested video game. Okay, so I haven't read this article, so I'm just gonna guess. It's okay. So they're saying it's a surprise. So it's probably not like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Right. That's what some game developers thought would be the most popular, because like Battlefield or Call of Duty, because these guys are in the military. They like to shoot stuff, right? But that's not the answer.
I'm gonna guess like FIFA or like NBA 2K or something.
You got it. It's FIFA.
Oh, great. Really? I got it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The people who run this program thought it would be Madden for some reason. They were like, these are American military.
Americans want to play
They want to
American
play
sports.
football, but really, actually, military service members like FIFA the best.
Oh, interesting. That's un-American of them.
Well, yeah,
to
I
like
think
this
it is quite
un-American
interesting.
sport.
Maybe it has to do with the fact that they're all over the world in different places. I'm not sure, but they actually distribute 4 times as many non-digital games via this service. In part because you can play those games anywhere. You don't need any equipment.
Oh, interesting. So they like
They like Disgruntled Decks. That's a military version of Cards Against Humanity.
Wait, so there's a market for this to make board games geared towards the military.
Yeah, if you made
that's like an audience.
If you made games that are not just a Cards Against Humanity clone that was for military service members.
So it's like army slang and stuff, army jokes.
It seems like, honestly, they need more tabletop games because Disgruntled Decks is just the most popular because there's a partnership.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you hear that, game designers?
Yeah, your troops need better board games and card games.
Uncle Sam needs you to design board games.
Yeah, everyone knows that, Cards Against Humanity clone will get old after a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe like a werewolf clone, but like army themed.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, that could really affect troop cohesion, Robert.
One person's a secretly military police or
something.
something.
Yeah, maybe you want to make a game that will actually encourage military service members to question their orders when they are illegal or violate human rights.
Use games to foment conscience and revolt.
Conscience. I think it's an important quality in a soldier. All right, on to the
next thing. News story, Kotaku's Steven Totilo reports Bethesda is now selling $100 annual subscriptions for their Fallout 76, which is like their kind of like MMO-y kind of entry in the Fallout games.
Right. Yeah, so it's $13 a month or $100 a year. This is a bold move. I think a lot of people are really surprised. They're thinking, I think there's another site, maybe it was Polygon, said Fallout 76 has just given its players a reason to quit and play Outer Worlds instead, which is the new
Fallout-like.
Yeah, Fallout-like or post-apocalyptic, sci-fi game. But you get all these benefits. It's really a way for them to fund private servers, and it's like you're paying a hosting cost for a private server where you and 7 friends can play and just have your own Fallout instance. I find this kind of interesting.
This is like a Minecraft business model.
A little bit, yeah, right. Except Minecraft, the server's running on your machine. This is like they're hosting the machine for you.
Oh no, like people order Minecraft server.
Oh, they do?
Services,
yeah, okay. I guess I'm not really up to date on it.
Oh, okay.
But and then do you pay for it?
Yeah, you have to pay for it, and then that's when like your child asks for your credit card, and you're like, what? Why do you need my credit card?
Right, exactly. So
similar thing here,
yeah,
I guess.
So it's similar, and you also get a bunch of their microtransaction currency. So this kind of deal is probably really for people who are spending a ton on microtransaction currency every month. If you're already spending $13 a month, and honestly, some people who play microtransaction games are spending like $50 a month, right? So it's not a big deal to spend $100 for a year. But then, of course, there are also hardcore players who try not to spend any money. Those people are really mad about this.
Because they're the real gamers. They're earning everything, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Or they're trying to find ways to beat the bank by spending as little as possible. But yeah, this is sort of in the mix with all these different subscription plans cropping up and people trying to like grab a piece of the subscription pie, maybe.
Right, because you can't fight Fortnite necessarily on this, so you have to like find some other ocean.
Some other way, right? So I think Kotaku, they're asking like, well, who's going to do this? It's weird, given that, that other games are doing season passes like Fortnite, right? But battle passes, that kind of thing. And then there are others, like people will only pay for so many subscriptions. That seems to be sort of well known, right? And it's a big thing with these streaming video services now. Like, are people going to pay for Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus and blah, 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 HBO Go or whatever? And now the same thing's kind of happening in games. Like, are you going to
buy one and absorb it all or something, right?
Right. And if people become loyal via a subscription to a particular game, then it makes it harder for you to play other games.
Yeah.
It locks you in. And that really, I think, changes the ecosystem in weird ways.
Sure.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next story. Our next story is from Investopedia. It's talking about why the coming Supercycle will lift video game stocks. What is going on?
Yeah, so what's a supercycle? It's a term that investors use to refer to the time when a new console comes out or a wave of new consoles come out.
Okay.
So investors in video game stocks look forward to this because then they're like, oh, well, then they're going to sell a bunch of games, right? Because everyone wants to get the new PlayStation 5 games. Then the stock prices go up. And actually, video game stocks have been depressed for the last couple years.
Even though Fortnite and everything, even though you think everyone would be excited about this new business model blooming, right?
You'd think, but you know what? The Fortnite, is Epic even a publicly traded company? I don't know.
Oh,
right?
no.
So
it's
they're
like
not.
Tencent with a huge stake, right?
Right,
It's not.
exactly. So, yeah, people are wanting to invest in Sony or Microsoft. These are traditional investors you're talking about. And actually, this article is a traditional article because it's not saying, hey, watch Google and these new streaming services. Google and Apple are getting into the video game business, right? Like with Apple Arcade or Stadia. Instead, they're saying, actually, you should just invest in Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. Is Nintendo publicly traded? I think it is, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because they're going to come out with their new consoles. That's just going to make everything go back to usual.
Okay.
Right? So it's a big question. There's almost a war in the investment community, which determines where the flows of money go between this old school of like, look, we're just going to have another cycle of consoles come out. It's going to be business as usual. And the new like disruptor investors who are like, actually, consoles are doomed. It's all going to be about cloud gaming and news subscription services and whatever, right? And you got to buy these new companies. Those investors are like, yeah, more a little bit trying to make a fast buck rather than relying on their existing strategy of investing in blue chip stocks. All of us making games out here in the rest of the world are affected by these gigantic tides.
We're just a little boat on the waves of capitalism, right? Like pushing us around.
Yeah, so this is the stuff that's going on, the arguments that are happening that determine where billions of dollars are flooding back and forth between different companies. Yeah.
And then it seems like we have, a few more stories. This one is by WBUR. Oh, is that Williamsburg? What is that?
No, it's actually Los Angeles public radio, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so this one, I mean, we've talked about this story before, right? The Hong Kong protests. I guess things are changing in Hong Kong. If I'm remembering correctly, they just got an agreement to not pass that extradition law that was the protests were starting over. But this story is about how it's affected the video game industry, right? And is mentioning, of course, the banning of Blitzchung and how that got rolled back. But the thing that was new that I didn't know about here was that this last part, like South Park and DJ Zed and PewDiePie are all kind of like getting in on the act here. Because like South Park released an episode called Banned in China.
Yes.
Where they were critiquing Chinese censorship. And then that episode got banned in China. So then they could be like, oh, we got banned in China. And then PewDiePie claimed his content was banned in China because he said something about Winnie the Pooh. It's not clear whether that was true or not. But it's now reached the point where concentric circles and ripples have caused content creators to be like, well, I can get banned in China too.
So now this, again, it's like a marketing tool thing, right? To like amplify their...
Yeah. Oh, it's so brave. Those brave South Park
Those South Park guys? Those like rich South Park guys?
PewDiePie is so brave, sticking it to the man, being like, you look like Winnie the Pooh. I said it.
Wow, PewDiePie, you're so cool.
Yeah, wow. I really admire him. News cycle.
And then this is Washington Post with another story. This man just bought some of gaming's holy grails. It cost him $1 million, and it's a NES cartridge?
Yeah, it's like rare versions of Super Mario Brothers. I was sort of surprised. I was like, no, sorry, it's original Mario Brothers.
That's what it is.
And Gumshoe. It's like
that's
$1 million.
Photo he sent them?
$1 million.
Oh no, that's the photo they took of him. Oh my.
What is this guy like a CEO of a startup of that he has $1 million to drop on games?
But it's not even a game you can play, right? That just has to like stay in the case.
Yeah, no,
right?
you have to keep it in its mint sealed box. So the thing I find interesting is this used to happen all the time for like comic books, right? It still does, or rare books. What else? Yeah, like tulip seeds is the classic example from Holland. It's like the tulip craze is what these kind of things are called.
Right.
But video games, yeah, these are digital games. You can play the ROMs of these games. So it has nothing to do with the fact whether you can play or access these games or not. Even like you could emulate this very faithfully. It's just about the objects. So there was this famous essay, by Walter Benjamin about the age of mechanical reproduction, which sort of suggested, the aura of the original will be lost when you can just reproduce it. But somehow the aura of the original is still on these particular plastic cartridges that were stamped out in a factory, just because
capitalism found a way to make them still in the commodity objects that you don't buy.
And just because some sort of glitch happened, or these things were only produced, like a few of them were produced of like this particular Mario Brothers arcade classics series of this particular kind.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's capitalism, and collectors has nothing to do with us in the games industry, actually, because these games can never be played.
Wait,
you can't make this happen exactly. I guess you can make this happen if you're Supreme. This is the principle that Supreme operates on, right?
Supreme, like that brand that has the Supreme like stickers.
Yeah, you like take a Supreme sticker. You're like, there's only one Supreme coffee mug of this octagonal coffee mug, and I'm going to put Supreme on it.
Okay.
It costs $5,000. And then that just creates an aura.
Oh, okay. So the branding is an aura in itself.
The branding is an aura, and the limited quantity, and the fact that Supreme is an irony-driven brand, right? So just the fact that it's like so stupid.
You paid so much for this mug.
They have like you can get a Supreme brick that costs $100, right? And it's like,
oh, they sell bricks?
Yeah,
Damn.
It's a brick with Supreme on it, and it costs a whole bunch of money.
Show off.
And then you put it on your shelf, and you're like, I have a Supreme brick.
Oh God.
It's also conspicuous consumption, right? This guy can be like, I have $1 million video game.
And then let's move on to our last story. Let's move on to our last story.
Quantum computing.
Yeah, this is quantum computing from the LA Times reporting about Google claiming quantum supremacy. What the heck is quantum supremacy?
So quantum computers are this thing that a lot of people feel like is science fiction, kind of like nanotechnology or something. And I don't understand it super well. There are a bunch of articles explaining it. It has to do with the fact that bits in quantum computers don't have to be in just a 1 or a 0 state. They can be in a weird wobbly in-between state. Qubits, exactly.
Quantum bits.
Right. And so what this means is that you can make computers that are way faster. They can do way more processing per second. And Google has just been able to create a computer that can do in a couple hours computations that would take conventional computers at least days to do, or possibly years to do. There's some argument about whether it's days or years, but still they're able to do things way, way faster.
Right.
And what that means is, probably quantum computers are coming. Even if right now they're like very large, they're basically like giant refrigeration units because they use superconducting. They have to cool temperatures down to way, way below the temperature of interstellar space, like super freezing. So you're not going to have one of these in your living room. You're not going to have a quantum console.
It'll never be like a home quantum computer. It's always going to be cloud computing.
They would have to figure out how to miniaturize it, right?
Right.
But the point is, the thing I think that impacts us in the game industry is this is what Google's plan is for cloud computing, right? To make cloud computing that's way more energy and cost efficient because it uses quantum computing instead of conventional computing. So maybe it'll be possible to have cloud games that actually don't destroy the environments. I don't know.
Because it'll just be super cold. They don't produce heat. So
Right.
then you don't need to cool them.
Right.
So they're more energy.
And heat is a huge problem for computing in the future in general. Samsung Galaxy phones are exploding because the processing power is too high, right?
Right.
And then everybody wants to have 4K, zero latency, really complicated games, and everything is just getting too hot. So that's why, we might have to be teaching classes here on how to program cloud supercomputers.
I'm not teaching those classes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach quantum. It's going to make game dev so impossible.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it makes developing for cloud supercomputers is really hard.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Okay.
the last of our news stories. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thank
Naomi.
you again. I will see you guys later.
Okay, bye, Naomi.
Bye.
As we transition to our next segment is we're hosting a special guest. Our special guest is our artist in residence at NYU Game Center. You may not have known that we have an artist in residence, but it turns out we do. And the artist in residency program is we basically pay people we like to go ahead and move to New York City, and we pay them money to live and survive, and then they make art or games or basically whatever they make. So it's pretty cool, I think. So let's go ahead and introduce our new guest, Marie-Claire Leblanc Flanagan.
Hello. Hi.
Marie, tell us a little. Do you go by Marie or Marie-Claire?
Marie is good.
Okay, thank you. Marie, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got into like making games and art and stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for saying I'm someone you like. That's nice.
No problem. Why not? Why wouldn't we like you?
Yeah. Well, there are reasons, but so I'm excited about play. I'm excited about experimental play, and I like to make things that are playful for me.
Oh, Julia, can you move the captions to the left? Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, I've been making experimental video games for about 4 years. And before that, I was involved in experimental music communities and other things.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your background and what you want to work on. Walk us through like some of your projects. Which one should we talk about first?
Well, the one I most recently documented was the Dream Room. So I would love to talk about that.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's talk about the Dream Room.
Yeah. So the Dream Room is something I made for Amaze Berlin. And
can you cut to the game feed too?
Co-designed it with Lindsay Raymakers and Brecode. And we wanted to make a different space inside a party. Personally, I find parties a little overstimulating, a little overwhelming, and we thought it would be wonderful to make this interactive, very gentle space for being inside the party, but also still at the party. So you don't have to go home. Yeah.
So, but we can still kind of like chill out or like have a breather or something like that. Okay.
Exactly. So there was, it was a tent. It was a giant, crinkly, beautiful tent that almost blew away actually in high winds.
Oh my goodness. So this is the diagram that was at Amaze Berlin in 2015?
2 years ago, I think.
16.
Yeah. Maybe not. I'm not good with dates, but yeah, there was an interactive projection on a round table in the middle of the tent, and there were 2 hosts working at all times, serving tea and kind of creating a feeling in the space. There were gentle lights, there was a tea service, it was very peaceful and beautiful.
Okay, so do you think of yourself as like an installation artist?
I don't know. Sometimes I think about myself as a game designer, because even though this isn't what a lot of people would call a game, I think a lot about what play looks like for me and try and design things that feel that way for me. So low pressure,
right, so
low stress.
Play can have a more like inclusive like tent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's many different types of play, a tent, literally, right? It's not just like formal gameplay, right? Where also play can also just be like socializing or like inhabiting a space, right?
Yeah. I was thinking on my walk here about how I used to climb trees. Did you do that when you were a kid?
Oh, did I climb trees? No, I'm not. I have a very weak core. I'm not good. I'm also kind of bottom heavy, you know? I just never was able to get really into the tree climbing mindset. But were you very limber? Were you able to like scamper all over the trees?
I did love tree climbing, and I was pretty limber. But what I was thinking about specifically was I didn't like seek out harder and harder trees. I loved tree climbing, and I just climbed the trees and enjoyed the feeling of clambering up.
Even if it was an easy tree?
Even if it was an easy tree.
Easy trees are still fun trees.
Easy trees are still magical. You climb up there, you're looking out into space. You're there with the squirrels and the birds and the sun and the wind and maybe some snacks in your backpack if you thought that far ahead, or a book. And this was very playful for me. And I was thinking about my game that I'm working on now and how I'm worried, am I making it hard enough? Are people going to be challenged? Is it going to be hard? And then I think, why am I worried about that? I never wanted that in tree climbing. Why do I feel like I need that in my game?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were feeling kind of stressed out, but then you kind of like returned to like a childhood memory that kind of helped ground your artistic practice now.
Absolutely.
That's a cool process.
I do experimental game workshops sometimes, and one of my favorite exercises every time is asking people to remember a game they invented when they were a kid before they played games. And I have heard some of the wildest, most beautiful games. In one place in Brazil, in Manaus, I spoke to some people. My sister was living there, so I taught a workshop there. And basically, people were telling me about their early play experiences, and they had some of the most adventurous and creative and magical play.
Wow.
Like jumping over rivers, there were vines. It was very like outdoorsy and magical.
Yeah, the play that we did when we were children is like the most purest, right? The most like...
You feel it.
Right?
In your
You
body.
feel it. It's like... Video games. Who needs this video game garbage? Let's just go back to being children. Let's return to childhood.
Sometimes I think that. Yeah, so this is one of my projects. I have also made a lot of projects that are about the spaces between people. So one of my most game-like games is called Closer. And
should we go to that?
Yeah, let's go to that. You can just go to, oh yeah, there it is.
This one?
And basically, it's just an infinite scroller. So there's a GIF underneath too that you can see. This was an early prototype.
Oh, should I go to the GIF?
It's up to you.
I mean, we can just...
This is good. So this is people playing. Basically, it draws a single playable character right between the two players. And they control it with their bodies, like continuously and cooperatively, navigating these things. It's 100% about the relationship between the two people, like whether they live or
it's like couples dancing kind of, right? It's like doing the tango together or something.
Couples are not that great at this game.
Really? That's interesting. Wait,
often-
why do you think couples aren't good at this game? It seems about like being on the same page.
Yeah,
and...
I know. What does that say? I know, but you know who's very good at this game?
Who's good at this game?
Siblings.
Oh.
Because I think it's all about expectations. Like, what do you think the other person is going to... As long as you can... So you can play anyway. One person can be very active, one can be very passive, but you have to be
this just
aware.
loops. Beautiful. Okay, yeah.
Loops are all the videos loop. Yeah, so this was one of my most game-like games. It had... I put a score on it, like so you could get a number that was good, and there was also death.
Death score?
Yeah. Things you can eat, little dots that you could eat that make a noise, like ting.
That's a game.
I know. So I added those things because I realized that that's what kind of like wakes people up and makes. So when you make an interactive art piece like this, let's say, and it's just like noises and movements, sometimes people engage for 10 seconds and then they walk away.
Yeah.
But if you add death and points and scores, people tend to engage for longer. Which I like. But then there are people like this. This person's just playing whatever they want to play. Yeah, and I think the thing that I'm making for No Quarter is kind of a continuation of this sort of idea.
So it's going to be like couplesy or something about like
It's actually
matching.
Kind of more about like enemies.
Interesting.
I was thinking about
Don't spoil us too much.
I won't tell too much.
But definitely tell us some of your thought process.
I was thinking about how, at least for myself, like not my actual enemy, like not like the person who's actually destroying my life, but the person that I'm kind of like struggling to engage with or like feeling like they're in my space. I have a really interesting relationship with that person. Do you have a person like that? Is there anyone in your life that you're like, maybe not an enemy, but also not a friend?
Like a nemesis? Like a productive nemesis? Not really. I wish I did. I think I miss having a nemesis. Wait, do you have a nemesis?
I've had many.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But I think of it as a very like productive relationship in a way. But anyway, I was thinking about these people in my life who I'm kind of pushing against, and I was thinking about how much they kind of define the space that I'm in. You know, like whoever you're pushing against. If you're a teenager, let's say your parents.
Right.
Push against your parents. As an adult, I don't know, maybe it's a colleague. Who knows? But I was thinking about this energy. So not relationships, not coupley, kind of like this person that you're pushing against. And what does that look like?
And how we can
Kinesthetically.
interpret that kinesthetics and
Yeah.
energy in like different
Yeah.
ways, right?
Yeah.
And channel it. Are there any projects that you'd want to talk about now?
Let's look at my story. Story is kind of it's a misnomer. Story is kind of like where.
Which one's story?
It's the tab at the top. If you look.
Story right here. Sorry.
And if you scroll down to the
Websites.
bottom, what you can see here, this is the story, but really this is kind of how I came to where I am. And I think
Oh my
it's
God!
kind
Okay,
of cool.
this is your background.
This is
okay,
my background,
so walk
yeah.
us through. Okay, so you are Australian?
No. This is Perth. Okay, so Canada has this habit of naming small towns after places that are elsewhere in the world. So Perth is a small Canadian city.
Okay.
So this is childhood. So we can scroll up a bit. I felt like my story makes most sense geographically because I don't really know how else to thread it together. It doesn't really make sense. So this is my background, not in games. I did drop out of high school at some point to be an art student. And then I didn't know how to take care of myself. And so I ended up like retreating home again. And I think that's why it took me so long as an adult to come back to art. But yeah, so my degree was in like interdisciplinary arts, global studies it was called.
Okay, so you've always just been interested in like people and communities for a while, right?
Well, I think it comes out of like a deep alienation.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God, we're learning all this darkness. You want nemesis, you want a nemesis, you have alienation.
I just am attracted to things that I find confusing.
And human life and social relations is
I am a
confusing.
human. Why is it so hard?
Why is it so hard to be a human? I mean, yeah, that is a question, right? That's the question of the hour of the year.
You don't seem to find it hard.
I mean, I hide my own deep darkness
You're hiding
behind
it.
this smiling veneer. We all have it inside us, don't worry.
Well, I want to see it come out in your games.
Oh
Where is
dear.
it?
Oh no, my games have darkness,
Yeah, okay.
definitely.
Okay.
I think so.
I think so too.
In the chat, Unparalleled Dev proposes frenemies. Do you think frenemies
yes,
speaks to that concept of like a productive nemesis?
Definitely. Definitely a frenemy would be a good person to play this game with that I made for no quarter.
So making games for frenemies is a really interesting kind of brief, right?
It might be a bit of a reveal. Like someone might find out that they're a frenemy in the moment. Like,
Oh my God.
by the way, you're my frenemy.
Let's play this game. It's like, oh, why do you want to play this game with me? No reason.
Yeah. So okay.
So walk
that's
us
where
through.
I came through this. I moved to Ottawa right after university, and I did alternative education with youth. I was hired to run this like magical nonprofit with alternative education and sailboats. We would teach people math while we sailed with them. And I got hired.
Wait. You teach people math while you sailed with them?
Exactly. It was
How
like
does-
an alternative educational program.
How do you learn? You're like measuring the rope or
You're,
something?
like measuring
or
like wind speeds.
Oh.
Anyway, I never got to do it.
Okay.
I got hired to do this, and I got hired. There were sailboats. There were like youth centers.
It was all lined up.
It was all lined up, and I showed up my very first day of work, and
Mm-hmm.
I got there to this place, and there was just a cook pouring cooking oil out onto this driveway.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, really. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I realized that this entire thing kind of had existed, but wasn't existing anymore. That there was this whole nonprofit that I was going to be running that did exist once upon a time, was mentioned in a throne speech by a prime minister, like was a big thing, that had kind of like fallen into disrepair and had become just kind of like a lunch kitchen. There were no youth. There were definitely no sailboats that I saw.
Wait, so you got hired for a job that didn't exist?
Exactly.
But then who hired you if they didn't exist?
A board of directors.
Oh, but then the board of directors is so alienated and disconnected. They don't even know that it doesn't even exist anymore?
Well, I think they knew, but I think that they thought I would just kind of, I don't think they realized how big the difference was, like how far things had fallen. There was supposed to be a coffee shop. I don't know, there wasn't even a working coffee maker. But listen, so I got hired and I arrived, saw this, and I had this moment where I thought, people invest thousands of dollars.
This
into
sounds
starting a
awful for you.
business.
I'm sorry.
It was It was awful, but also it was kind of amazing because these people were paying me. They did pay me.
Okay.
Mostly.
Okay, at least they're still paying you.
They
That's
did pay
good.
me. And so I was like, why don't I just, okay, I can't get sailboats, but why don't I just find some youth who wants an alternative education, talk to them about what that looks like, and make it happen. So I kind of like started up the cafe again, got coffee machines, put up posters. I was like, are you a youth? Do you want to
Are you a youth?
And and then like made like scrappy thing. Okay, there were no sailboats. I mean, I don't know, but we had programs, alternative educational programs with youth. And I thought I'm getting paid to learn how to start a business, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out. Like you found your own way through it, right?
I did, and I feel like it was an invaluable education. Like I realized that everything in this world that people make, they make themselves.
This should
Like
be
you can make a game center. You can make a game. You can make anything you want.
You can make a stream.
I mean,
you can make a.
Obviously, you need someone to be paying that paycheck.
Yes.
Right? That's the thing. You need to have that financial stability. But before that, I didn't really realize that everything in this world is made by people, and that I could also be one of those people.
So if you have resources and you have space, all you need is supplies like the will and the initiative, and you can make something happen, right?
Yeah, you don't even need the will, I don't think. Like if you just have like a blueprint, but you do need the money. You need the money and you need the health. Like,
how can you run something without not wanting it though, right?
No, I just didn't want to buy into this narrative of like the grit of the entrepreneur.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, you do need to kind of want it, I guess, a bit.
Definitely. In the
yeah.
chat, it looks like people are just arguing about quantum computing right now.
Let's talk. We can talk. Well, I guess that's kind of done.
We'll issue a correction about quantum computing sustainability near the end of this program, but in the meantime, just want to stay with Claire's story and Marie Claire's story and talk a little bit more about this. So
we should go a bit faster. I don't know, because like there's a lot of cities, Robert.
Oh, okay. I mean, we still have 10 more minutes, so I think we're fine. So Edmonton, what's Edmonton like?
Edmonton, Alberta is a magical place.
Oh.
Yes.
Can you compare it to any American analog to help me understand what Edmonton is?
I don't know enough about American cities. I can describe
Fair
it,
enough.
and then you can.
Okay, describe it. It's of its own thing. It cannot be compared to any American city.
You're gonna figure it out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Alberta. Edmonton is in Alberta, and Alberta is where the oil is. It's the most right-wing leaning province.
Beautiful. Yeah, great.
Texas is this? But also it's cold. It's very cold. I mean, in the north.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Texas. Not so. Okay, keep going. Okay, so oil, conservative place.
Yeah. Kind of beautiful. It's in between the prairies and the mountains. So you're close to the mountains and the hot springs and Lake Louise, but you're also close to like this endless stretch of prairie. And so it's kind of lonely. Like it's far. It's really far to drive there.
Okay, so there's like industrial sites, but there's like a lot of desolate prairie between.
But then it's this big city with like a river valley and a river running through it, and these like incredible arts communities.
So it's very mountainy too. It's like picturesque, like a valley. Okay.
River valley, kind of through it.
So it might be more. Yeah, it might be Texas. It might be somewhere in the Midwest. Yeah. But if we're talking oil industry, that's probably mostly Texas, I would say. Okay, I mean Texas is a gorgeous space, and there's beautiful, wonderful places to visit in Texas too.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. What'd you do in the Texas of Canada?
So I managed an art space. It was interdisciplinary art, so it would be like experimental dance, it might be film screenings, philosophy music. I also worked on a project called Weird Canada, which was my life for probably a decade, basically.
Weird Canada. Should we Google this? What is this?
Yeah, we can look it up. So Weird Canada originally was a music review website, basically, of experimental and emerging Canadian music. We won the Best Music Website in Canada award.
Wow. Wait, so you're super involved in like the music scene and stuff, and music blogging?
I was. And we, as a community, myself and about 600 other people, like incorporated this nonprofit called Weird Arts Initiatives, where we did resources, databases. We started a distribution service for Canadian music. We did lots of like traveling musical festivals
And wow, and
events,
speaking to all the artists and stuff. Wow, that's
interviews.
great.
It was a wild ride.
Oh, and bilingual, as you do in Canada. Wow,
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that.
Very controversial, but
Oh
yeah, bilingual.
no, Francais version for this
No,
one.
there should be. It's probably just my code is broken, but no, there's French for everything, and there are some other languages as well. Like when people wanted to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, we worked with probably 100 volunteer translators. It was a volunteer full-time job.
Oh yeah, there's the
basically.
Francais. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Oh yeah, and then there's you
me, yeah,
and
yeah.
all your colleagues. Wow.
I mean, it's a lot of the colleagues. There were many, but like look at the scroll bar.
What?
Look
Oh
at the
my
scroll
wait,
bar.
oh my god. Oh my god, look at all these people involved. You built such a big organization.
We built it together.
Wow.
But yeah, I worked on this basically full time, unpaid for.
Oh my gosh, you've done so much. Wow.
And one of my favorite things that kind of came out of this community is something called Drone Day, which I still do, and that's every year in May. We drone. We make drone sounds.
You drone like
around the world. Exactly.
like that.
Yeah. DroneDay.org. Because otherwise you're gonna get the flying drones.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about those flying drones. We're talking about the cool drones, the
Exactly.
sound drones.
You can click on videos and you'll see some kind of like cool, but yeah, all around the world. People, at first it was just in Canada, in every province and territory, and then people around the world kept reaching out and saying, this is on my old rooftop. They're all some droners.
Oh wow, look at all these droners droning.
And if you keep scrolling down, there's more videos. Oh no.
Oh wait, where are all the other videos? We have to send more in.
There are some pretty good videos, like people like jumping rope with an LED thing,
Uh-huh.
that sort of thing.
Oh no.
There's one person in
No more
Toronto who
photos.
does drone therapy,
Uh-huh.
which is all like drones, but therapeutic drones. And she does like a zillion also for like people to like do self-therapy with drones. One person wanted to like get in a cage with all these insects and drone with the insects for Drone Day.
Oh my god.
One person wanted to make
That's
a
right, insects
snowmobile
drones.
orchestra,
Oh my
like
god.
The snowmobiles in way north in Iqaluit make like snowmobile drone improvisation piece.
And did it happen?
I don't know. I mean, like honestly, it's pretty far in the north. Sometimes I feel confident that something happened. Yeah.
So then you
Music,
moved to Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
Um,
Beloved by all Torontonians and hated by a lot of the rest of Canada. Do you
What-
have an American equivalent? New York?
is Toronto the New York of Canada?
Maybe. Yeah. So I worked in Toronto for a while, still on this project. This is where I made my first game.
Oh gosh,
I did,
okay.
Dames Making Games.
Oh, cool.
Just kind of like for fun, and made something called Think.
And Dames Making Games still operates in Canada, right? That's
Yeah,
cool.
Toronto. There's also Hand-Eye Society there. It's a very rich place for experimental games communities.
And all that delicious Canadian funding, right? Public funding for games.
Where is that? But I'm based out of Montreal when I'm not here, and it's also very rich in this area.
All right, okay, there's your drone day stuff.
Yeah, arts and culture stuff in Kitchener, Ontario. It used to be named Berlin, and then Berlin.
Okay, so tell us about what you did in Berlin.
So my partner and I were living in Kitchener, and we kind of like looked at each other one day, and we were
I'm sorry, where's Kitchener? I don't know what Kitchener is.
It's near Toronto.
Okay,
It's a small
okay.
city. And we looked at each other one day and we just said, we're unhappy. Let's have a different life. And for me, the different life was moving to Berlin and learning how to make experimental video games. So before that, I had only made this one that we just talked about.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really know what they were. And I kind of just wanted to explore the space. So I moved to Berlin. I didn't really know anyone. I reached out to Amaze Berlin, which is this amazing festival.
Uh-huh.
And I reached out to a place called the School of Machines Making and Make Believe, and I got involved in some communities there and some creative code communities.
Wow.
And got really into games. But like most of the first games I played outside of arcades were at Amaze. That was like where I was like, oh, this is what games are. So
Wait, okay, so you kind of got into games from like Berlin, from Amaze kind of mixing music scene with games.
yeah,
A little bit,
kind of
maybe?
like, when I got into games, I was thinking about music.
Okay.
And if you listen to the radio only, that was your only source of music, you might think music is not that great. Or you maybe
No, I like radio. I like, Dublab. I listen to Dublab a lot.
Yes. I mean, like radio music is great, but But like maybe, I don't know, you wouldn't know about all the weird experimental music.
Okay, sure. Oh, like commercial mainstream like radio,
Yeah, like pop
right?
radio.
Okay, pop
Yeah.
radio, yeah.
And then I thought that must exist for games. And like if that does exist, why can't I get involved in that world?
Oh wow. So you did like a kind of like horizontal like jump
Yeah.
a little bit, right?
I jumped over. But there are two Canadians who I knew. One Canadian. Do you know this person, Paloma Dawkins?
Yeah, I love Paloma.
Paloma was in this music world, like volunteered for
Right.
Canada. And then also like when I asked Paloma what is the weird Canada equivalent of games, Paloma said you should look into a maze.
Ah, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then you also then you moved to San Francisco briefly, did a game jam at Dynamic Land. Oh, that's that thing where there's all the projectors and you can like code by using note cards or something on tables or something.
Yeah. I think the dream is like a more humane way of computing.
Right.
So like instead of this business over the laptop, we're collaborating in open space. I think they have like a 100-year plan or something.
Right, Dynamic Land.
In Oakland.
Right, it's like thinking of computing as like this like central communal thing with like tables and stickers and.
I don't know, it's very interesting. Do you know this person, Gabibo? Isaac?
Yeah.
Isaac, I connected with Isaac, and that's how I ended up helping with this game. We made like a weird little game.
Oh, people in the chat are saying it's hard to hear you.
Oh.
Where'd your mic go?
It's lost.
We don't know where your mic has disappeared. Where'd your mic go? Oh, okay.
Too much sweater.
Can you squat? Can you, or just do it closer to you. Sorry about that.
Thank you, chat person.
Thank you, Steno Knight. Thank you, Mirabai.
Yeah.
Okay, and then now you're based out of Montreal, mostly, except for our residency here.
Yes.
So what are you doing in Montreal?
But I want to say it's pretty
Montreal?
nice here.
Oh, thank you.
I could not leave sometimes. I think.
You don't have to say that, but thank you.
In Montreal, I learned French.
Oh, really?
I can speak.
Vraiment?
I can speak. Oui, je peux parler comme une petite enfant.
Oh my God, you're so much better at French. I took years of French.
The French people think I have a pretty bad accent, but yeah, I learned French every day. I went and sat in a classroom like a small child, like it was so hard actually. It's like sit still like this and learn. But yeah, I learned French, and I've been working with a couple of companies there. One called Daily Tous les Jours. Their thing is like they make like playful installations. They made like a musical swing set that's collaborative. And other like educational technology companies like Genie Lab.
Oh yeah, let's peep them out a little bit.
I got to speak some French though to get into this website.
Je suis en couture.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all no English version. Okay, but what does Genie Lab do? They're like an technology education kind of thing.
Exactly. They work with museums, but I don't know. It's like interesting in the way that people relate to each other. It's a nonprofit. It's collaborative. It's kind of like a bit of who shows up is involved, this sort of thing, which I find very interesting personally, like different ways of people working together. But of course, like money is sometimes hard in those circumstances.
It is.
And I did a residency at TAG, which I think you know.
Oh, at Concordia.
Yeah.
Right. Our cousins to the north. Concordia University also runs a lovely game design program run by
Lynn Hughes and Bart. Well, actually, no, it's Rilla Khalid that does.
Yeah, Rilla. Okay.
Who's the director, and then I think Pippin Barr was helping.
Right.
But I don't know. I came at kind of a weird time, so I worked a lot with this person, Gina Hara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah.
Shout out to all the TAG folks. We love you. Come down to New York and visit us. Or we'll come up there. We can go up to Montreal sometimes too.
Come up.
And now, New York City residency. So, we have to end soon. Just tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for your residency here and how are you finding New York City? What's your frank opinion of New York City?
Well, housing is difficult.
Housing is a thing That's very difficult. And some people, if you have money, it's very easy. You can pay someone to find housing for you. But unfortunately, if you are an artist who's a working artist and you have to do your own legwork to find apartments, it can be pretty challenging.
Yes,
and stressful.
It's been very challenging. But the city is beautiful. I walk. Right now I live a 35-minute walk away. I walk to work.
Oh, that's great.
Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn.
That's the dream.
I love this part of the city a lot. I like Manhattan. It's okay, but when I get over there, I feel much less at home immediately.
Manhattan is so over. Come to Brooklyn is where NYU Game Center is. Brooklyn is also just, if you like live music, you have to go to Brooklyn because there's no good live music venues left in Manhattan really.
Too expensive.
Manhattan's pushing everyone out. So all the good parties, all the good stuff is happening in Brooklyn. So you chose wisely.
But I love being here in the Game Center. I'm very curious about the students. I've been getting to know them. I've been sitting in on classes. I'm a bit shy to ask sometimes because I don't know, but I sit in when I can.
No, let's set the record straight. If you are a student at NYU Game Center, do not be shy. Talk to Marie.
Please.
Marie would love to talk to you and learn more about you. And then you can share wisdom and experiences and have a beautiful cultural exchange. Because that's why we have an artist in residence. Okay? Jesus Christ, people.
Come talk to me. Especially cooperative, collaborative experiments. But anything. I'll even play your weird shooting games, which I don't offer to many people. So, yeah.
That's a very generous offer. Thank you for playing their shooter games. All right. Well, it's around the end of the broadcast, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining us, Marie.
Thank you for speaking to me.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Julia, can you scroll up in the chat so I can read corrections? So earlier in the broadcast, we made some claims about quantum computing that are not quite right. Regarding quantum computers and energy efficiency, they're supposedly more efficient than conventional processors because a single super refrigeration unit could cool a very large number of processes in one facility. So it's the idea that you can cool en masse and have an economy of scale, I believe. But of course, the practical result of running quantum server farms remains to be seen. So we still don't quite know yet. But it is promising, maybe, and also but maybe that would be bad because we're regressing. I'm just trying to read off the chat. We might be regressing towards a server interface model instead of the modern mobile computing, personal computing paradigm. Anyway, that's the correction. I'm sorry. I know you come to NYU Game Center for all our nuance, and we want to be nuanced about quantum computing as well. All right, let's cut to our credits real quick. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I was your director host, Robert Yang. The news co-host was Naomi Clark. Operator behind the scenes is Julia D'Amato. Graphics are by Winnie Song. And live captioning was by Mirabai Knight of Steno Night Cart Services. Thank you for tuning in and see you next week. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.